my experiences.
All right. So why don't we start with your background, Vikas? So why HR? Why did you decide to have a career in HR?
It's a big question because I started actually my career in sales.
Okay.
But I think my basics were very right that my customer is the consumer and I should understand the business process.
Hello friends, welcome to another episode of HR to CHRO, and today we have Mr. Viekas Khokha with us. He has had a long career in HR. He worked with Airtel, he worked with Upgrade, and currently he is CHRO of Sharda Motor Industries Limited. So welcome Vikas, thanks for giving us time.
Thank you. Thanks for calling me here. It's always a pleasure to reflect and share my experiences.
All right. So why don't we start with your background, Vikas? So why HR? Why did you decide to have a career in HR?
It's a big question because I started actually my career in sales.
Okay.
And I was fairly doing well. When I saw my competencies, typically my relationship with clients was very, very strong. And the relationship was strong because I could get back to them in terms of solving their problems.
Okay.
Through my product and services.
Right? Okay.
And my availability emotionally and physically was very strong with them.
Okay.
So when I look at these competencies, which are very different from, you traditionally in those days you looked at for sales, you looked at a very aggressive person,
correct,
pushing your product,
correct,
selling. I had more of relationship,
more of empathy, empathizing with the customer, understanding their problems.
So that softer side became hard side for me.
Okay.
And I thought a lot of people, in fact, my supervisor and people used to come and get coached from me. How do I build relationship with clients to get there? So when I started doing that coaching, I realized that if I do it at an organization level and impact the business again in a very different way, why not? I can look at a different lens. With that thought, I thought, let me bring myself into human resource and get human resource closer to the customer. And I was a conduit because I was in touch with the customer as well as people. So I think that is a thought which brought me to HR.
Very nice.
Life was not that smooth when I came in because when you enter a new division, you have a lot of hurdles. But I think my basics were very right that my customer is the consumer and I should understand the business process. Very how nice. To, transfer value from the supplier to the consumer. I think all along this journey, I have tapped that and created a wow for my internal stakeholders and eventually got the value to the customer.
In fact, it resonates with me, Vikas, because I am a sales guy. So I worked in sales industry for 15 years with some of the big companies. But then inadvertently, I was into training because I was always training my sales teams on how to achieve their targets. And even now, the trainings which I do with the corporate training intervention that we do, so it's very business oriented. So with measurable metrics, like you mentioned, that customer is the end focus, and HR is just one of the tools, so as to say, to satisfy the customer so that the organization can grow. So that's very nice. That's amazing. So it would not have been that easy as you are making it sound, shifting from sales to HR. So some interesting challenges you would like to share?
First challenge is to have your first pitch to your director HR. Okay. That you should take this move, and he should be convinced that you are the right person to take the move, because anybody could come and propose that I want to move here. In those days, cross-functional movements in any case were not common. Today, correct. It's getting more and more common. It's correct. Holistically developing people for correct. Future. Correct. The intent was very clear to impact person. So I think I remember writing a one-pager to him why I want to move to HR. Is my first.
And that was very progressive of him to actually give you a hearing that, and then asking you to write
hearing. That is progressive. But, and since it was Bharti Airtel where I did, so okay. I think progressively we had some very strong people practices. Okay. Again, the journey didn't end there. It's just the one step to be able to convince somebody, and then keep a very brief follow-up in terms of, take a ladder from the point. I took a ladder from operations and nobody wanted to do operations. Everybody wanted to do more of strategic work, and I took that. And I think operations help you to connect with people very fast because it's easy to impact people.
Correct.
right?
Transaction
Through
based
operations,
and
transaction based. It involves people, it involves your own team, and it involves processes. So I think from a very basic side that happened. But yes, unfortunately, what happens, we talk a lot about diversity, inclusion, etc. But when it comes to people who are not from a traditional background, there's a lot of hindrance to accepting them.
correct.
So you have to identify, meet each leader, identify what is the value you're drawing to them,
Okay.
is very important component in the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think consciously you need to identify what are the areas that you can impact and work consistently in impacting that area. What I did, I think I could identify some of the pertinent problems in the system. I could address it through my team. People said that your team is talking a different language, and that's what I got to know. So I think all in all, that whole philosophy of changing the mindset of people and addressing those
So I would
problems
love
is
to
very
hear some
important.
examples on the challenges you uncovered. But was it because you were coming from a sales background, so you could have a look at it holistically, that these are the pertinent problems which you could address? And was that the main reason? Because, or is it a common practice? Because normally when I talk to CHROs, so they say that we have to be very business oriented as a CHRO and the journey, and it's not a normal practice in HR. As maybe I'm mistaken, but this is what I have gathered, that it's maybe not a normal practice to look at things from a business point of view. So were you able to do that because you were coming from sales? And a few examples, the problems that you identified.
So I wouldn't like to say that I am coming from sales and that's why I could do it. But yes, my focus was on the consumer, how I could impact that end person. And also, salesperson is very much exposed to a customer, a distributor, a dealer. My visibility on the front line has been very, very strong. In fact, last month I met one of my ex leaders. He's the managing director of the firm that I work, Zimmer Biomed, and he called me out that he says your relationship is with people is very strong, and I
Very
am
nice.
remembering it after 7 years today.
Very nice.
And I think my consistent relationship with all my managing directors and who have worked very closely has been very strong because of that reason, that
Very
they have
nice.
seen that. To give you few examples, like we had customer services unit which is centrally driven in Airtel, and you had people across all circles being placed. They were not accepted by those circle heads because they were not circle manpower.
I
They
understand.
were central manpower.
I
They were
understand.
sitting there.
I
They were
understand.
given a seat and all that, but not taken care completely. I took an effort and wrote to all the circle leaders and tried to get this piece addressed, which was a big noise there. Now, it's not that intentionally somebody is not wanting.
I
It's just
understand.
that your attention has to be brought in.
Priorities are different, so they
So when you write a mail centrally and then get everybody aligned through a very you do an intervention and get it done. I think that was a very big impact. And sometimes it looks very simple, but it gets very complex when it's not done.
correct.
Right?
Correct.
When two people don't talk, you feel that there's a big problem, and the moment they talk, the problem is solved. So it's all about communication channel.
Correct.
So I created a communication channel from Central Unit 2 and taking their views also, what they need from me more. I think all the time it has helped that I've asked questions, what you need more. In Zimmer Biomed, I went down to sales team. I went down to meet them in the ground. I never called them here.
Very nice.
I did meeting at customer sites. I went to distributors for last stint with Hanukkah Agritech. I went to distributor of I went somewhere in Nagpur, met the distributor, retailer, met my team there. Meeting my team there, even if I'm not value adding, I met doctors in my stint with Zimmer Biomed. Surgeons were surprised that why HR head is coming in. Idea was to engage with my team and always asking questions in terms of what can I do more. My first question to my set of leaders.
This question is to the business people. What
business
can
people, yeah.
Please go on.
And my first question to my business leaders is, what is it that I can do more?
Very nice.
Where do I stand today on the scale of 10? Try to numerically present it.
Very nice.
Is it 3 and 4? How can I be 6 or 7? What are those three things which will make me 6 or 7?
So to stop you here, So this is a very powerful message to every upcoming HR professional, that they have to be business oriented and they have to ask the business people that how can HR be a tool to help them achieve their goals
Sure.
by asking these questions. That's very
Sure.
powerful.
And I think it's not about your agenda versus my agenda.
Correct.
It's about business agenda, and you
Correct.
have to really help people to get convinced. Sometimes you have to step back. We get into discussions and we want to conclude the discussions then and there, and get into those conflicts which are never ending.
Can you give me an example of a stepping back?
So suppose somebody is very adamant on not introducing a policy which
Okay.
is which is
Okay.
very people friendly,
I understand.
which can impact your attrition, which can impact your engagement of people,
I understand.
because of that policy they are going to
Facing
impact
problems. Yeah.
the universe which you are treating. On the face of it, it doesn't work. So you go back, do your analysis, get your data,
Okay.
and then present it once again.
Okay.
It's good to sometimes go back and do your homework better and then go back.
Data comes in, analyzing
Different
data comes
forms,
in
like
very.
sometimes data comes from the market,
Okay.
like market benchmarking, where you take benchmarks from
From the
various
industry, yeah.
ecosystems and say, look, this is how our market looks.
Okay.
And sometimes consciously signing off with people in terms of they not moving consciously despite that they should move is also a good move. Now I'm just taking an example that if somebody is not ready to move an inch and you say that, okay, this is what the market is saying, this is where directionally we should go, but right now because of constraints we are not moving. So let's sign this out also, that we are not moving because of so and so constraints, but we should move.
I understand.
So I think in so many ways, an HR leader or HR partner can bring in a value without getting into conflicts. The problem is when you get into the conflicts, when you get into my agenda versus your agenda, or you drive your agenda, then it becomes a problem. I'm taking another example. In my last organization, we started an academy. It was a learning academy, and every stage, Amit, we brought lot of interventions from leader to be able to create the whole curriculum in that academy.
Okay.
They, along with our third party partner, along with HR, we sat and co-created that whole thing. When the final thing came in, it didn't look like it's an inordinate imported product which has come to me. It looked like that it's been created by
Homegrown,
us. It's homegrown because it has real life examples, real life problems which had. The entire academy was a successful attempt just because of this. That all our area managers, regional heads, sales, national sales head was completely involved. In fact, what we did was when we selected a third party vendor, we also created a panel of it. It's not only HR which is doing the selection.
Very nice.
Even creating a curriculum at each stage. I remember doing talks in afternoons, mornings, multiple meetings, just co-created that whole curriculum.
Very
and
nice.
It came out so customized.
Obviously. So another interesting question which is coming to my mind is, see, normally people say, I'm so busy doing my own stuff that I don't have time to do something extra. Now I'm talking to you, and you used to go out, you used to make field visits, meeting people, and not only your own team members, organizational people, also vendors and outside people, channel partners. So how can an HR person or anybody, any professional for that matter, how can they take out time to do these important things?
It's a very important question because you have to take out time for this. It doesn't come naturally. If you don't have your house in place, it's very difficult for you to do that. So first, your back end system has to be in place.
So first you have to be very good at what you do.
Yeah. And then you start traveling. Sometimes we create so many barriers in our brain that we can't do it. We can't take out that time, and it's just a minute away. I do a planning in the beginning of the month that who all I need to interact, who all I need
Very
to meet,
nice.
even if it is virtually.
Very nice.
Meeting virtually and physically is just difference of taking that time.
Correct.
So I think a planning in that way, picking notes from what they are facing, because they might talk of a very trivial issue. I am facing this problem, and you can take it lightly also, right? If you take it very, very aggressively, I ensure that all my leaders are getting a call back or a confirmation on the mail on any query that they have.
Very nice.
I think that comes from a sales
Okay.
background, that I reverted to my customers'
Follow up
queries.
and closure.
Oh, in a very, very proactive way. I think here also. Second, I think where you brought the right word called empathy, little bit, that empathy for somebody's cause or somebody's pain
Mm-hmm.
really makes a space for us in their hearts.
Correct.
A little bit empathy.
People
So
don't
I
remember
think,
what you tell them, they remember how you make them feel.
yeah, and when you do that, uh, they feel important and they give you time. It's never give and take, right, for an HR person. So I think being there, understanding their pain, making them understand, the impact, going stage wise, I think are some of the ways, I do to be able to make that space and then get there.
Very nice.
Meeting people on the ground, especially for sales organizations, I would say that it's good idea that HR people go down the line and meet them. uh, I think when you meet also, you create a complete buy-in from the ecosystem that you're going and meeting them, because they should not feel that's a third agenda for your meeting, right?
I understand.
You're doing an auditing, right?
I
You should not
understand.
look like an auditor. You should value add into the process, in terms of, suppose I had once, we had to make a change in our incentive plan, because incentive policies were very, very linked to the compensations
Mm-hmm.
on variable pay, and we had to make them independent in terms of your earning potential should be higher in terms of your performance.
Correct.
It should not be dependent on your fixed costs.
Correct.
So I think this is a small change that you could make by meeting people on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
understanding, what is their potential
Mm-hmm.
earning that they can earn, and
Mm-hmm.
what are the things that they should do
Mm-hmm.
so that they can earn. And say a simple sales guy earning 5 lakhs as fixed compensation could have a 10 lakhs of
Earning
variable
capacity.
pay,
Correct.
and look at the amount of earning that he expands if he performs.
Correct.
So I think that bit you can only understand when you meet people on the
So
ground.
again, this is a very powerful observation, because see, normally sometimes, primarily in Indian companies, generally salespeople or generally HR people say that they are not respected that much by the business, by the sales. So this is the way out. When you go, like you said, you go out, meet salespeople, understand their problems, and not as a auditor, but as contributor in helping them achieve. So this is where the respect and everything will start coming in, and they'll start listening to you. Very, very powerful. But again, so that monthly planning, in the starting of the month, do you do it on the first Sunday, or do you do it on the first of the month?
I think I have a habit of planning even my Sunday. So even my personal life, I have a list of items. I think that space I have every time, and it happens on the paper for some reason. It doesn't happen on
Or the
the
laptop, mobile or
laptop or a
laptop?
mobile.
So
That's
again,
my traditional way, and I strike it out. The moment that is over, I strike it out. I evaluate towards the end of the day how many strikes I had and how many are left. That's my efficiency. So I think almost every day I do this.
very nice.
I do it uh, for my personal life. I do it every week because I have a lot of work on the weekends. So this is how I can accomplish my weekend. And sometimes, I make myself very flexible and available to people.
Very nice.
Despite all this doesn't become a barrier for me. This is
Very
my
nice.
work. But and people don't get to know this is happening. This is just my way. But when they call me, I ensure that they get called back.
Very
And
nice.
every query is addressed either through mail or on the WhatsApp, at least addressing that. Or even if I'm not able to address, at least sending a note that I'll be able to address at the future date.
Very nice. See, why am I asking repeatedly on this is because this is something very powerful. When I interact with people, with managers and senior people during my interactions, I ask them two questions. When was the last time you invested something on yourself, doing a certification course or something? When was the last time? Second, when was the last time you strategized for your personal life or for your business life? So out of maybe 30 odd people, hardly one or two people raise their hands. Why? Because they don't plan. That is why I am asking these questions, and planning is very
And
important.
this is your own planning. Now,
Correct.
another person, when you talk, may not find this effective. This is working for me.
There could
And
be another way, but planning is
yeah,
very important. Some
planning
way
is very
of.
important, that you at the beginning of the day decide what are your top things that you're going to achieve today. What are some of the big fires that you're going to achieve today? And my way to strike it out is just that's over and I'm moving on. Even to call like three people, if I have to
Okay.
call my three leaders, generally I've what time ho gaya, I have not spoken to them. Let me call them and just generally ask them how are things going, can I do something more,
Very nice.
is written over there. These three leaders need to be called, and I can call them while driving or while being driven, and just call them.
So it's monthly planning, then weekly planning, and then daily planning. And
Daily
this is
planning,
a.
and these ad hoc elements are also part of that plan.
And I think this is a common factor of all the successful people, people who reach at the top, because everybody has the same brain power. It's only how organized you are and how well.
And Amit, I've got consistent feedback from my leaders, even today, my CEO, that my connect with my business leaders is very strong. I can bring in that uh, relationship with them. Now, that relationship has a connotation to this,
Mhm.
that how well you can address your queries. Relationships don't work just on the good words.
Correct.
What I'm trying to
Correct.
address to the public here, that relationship just doesn't mean that you keep talking and just words will not solve the
You have
problem.
to add value.
You have to add the value, and your processes again at the back end have to be strong. If your team is not aligned, I don't think you can do the work,
So it's
because
on two fronts. So one external, second is internal. So your team
internal,
also has to be on the same page with
right?
you, and you have to think about their welfare and motivation. And very
And when we
nice.
make changes, we just simply take a drawing board and say, let's sketch this process again, and
Okay.
let's create a new process. I think that agility you should have.
So that again you sit with your team and decide. So it's not a
Yeah,
one way thing.
yeah.
Okay.
And the good or bad part is that you're not always right.
Okay.
You keep
And you have the
experiment.
humility to accept that.
Yeah,
Very nice.
you're wrong. You accept it, then you keep changing.
Very nice.
Things not necessarily
And it's
need to
not that
work.
easy.
It's not easy, because I think एक में competency कहीं ना कहीं, I tell every budding HR person is, keep your ego lower, as low as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Your self-esteem and self-respect still need to be high.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take nonsense from anybody,
Mm-hmm.
but keep your ego low in terms of how I am right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has helped me,
Mm-hmm.
and that has also helped people who I coached and guided and mentored.
Is it becoming a challenge, more of a challenge nowadays, keeping ego in check?
I think it was always
It was always. Okay.
just that in front of our customers, because they pay us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. We actually consciously keep it low.
Correct.
Right? If we keep it high, we'll not get the business. Right? We'll be kicked out.
Correct.
Just because these are internal leaders, internal stakeholders, my ego brings a barrier of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, then communications go down, and then there's a
Correct.
breakdown.
Correct.
Right? Now, to create a breakthrough out of breakdown, I think when you keep your ego low, you hear, understand other side,
Mm-hmm.
also empathetically
Mm-hmm.
bring your point of view
Mm-hmm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
and create a win-win situation by creating a right marriage of two ideas. That is very effective. It normally happens. I remember we were hiring for one of the leaders, and there were 2 point of views. I felt that the leader is not able to culturally
Mm-hmm.
deliver in the organization, because he was coming from a very different culture, and
Mm-hmm.
my leader was looking at the background, the kind of companies that person has worked, and that career
Mm-hmm.
path and all that,
Mm-hmm.
plus of overall evaluation. And I said that cultural barrier is a very big one.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that we said that let's bring on board a third party agency to do a psychometric testing,
Mm-hmm.
and without getting into that my point is right and you have
Okay.
to agree to it.
Okay.
Let's try another third party point
Mm-hmm.
and see. And I remember psychometric agency also highlighting this as a red flag. And it's
Okay.
a critical position.
Mm-hmm.
This is that this derailer can be not derail for today, but it can be futuristic also.
Correct.
You may still not get rid of the leader,
Mm-hmm.
but you may have future teams which will suffer.
Correct.
And eventually the leader got convinced, and we did not finally hire that particular person, and eventually hired somebody else who was better off, culturally. So I think this is one of the ways you
So
can bring your point.
going all out and trying to bring the leader to your point of view by using all the other means rather
Yeah.
than trying to bulldoze
And third party view is always good, because
Mhm.
sometimes it's not about you, it's about the process. And it could have been possible that third party agency of psychometric agency would have said that, look, this is culturally fit and there's no major red flag, and I would have got to know
Okay.
from that. It's not about
Correct.
generally coming with the agenda of convincing him,
Correct.
but sometimes to take another perspective also.
So I'm very much interested in the business part. So can you share some anecdotes, some example where because of your inputs, the business actually improved?
We had a price point control in our industry in 2017, when our product prices were capped in the market.
Okay.
So our distributors could not sell the products beyond a certain
Mm-hmm.
cost.
Okay.
Earlier they used to just mark up,
Correct.
right? And this was the mandate by the government.
Okay.
So we had to bring the price. So the products which were sold in the market were kind of completely had to be taken back, because they were sold at a higher price.
Okay.
So there's no scope of you already consumed in the market at a higher price, and you have to now sell at a lower price.
Mhm.
Second, it happened in the middle of the year, so the business plan had to be reworked.
Oh,
And imagine, in the middle of the year,
okay.
the biggest draw which came in was the capex for people.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do we do? Because we have to meet our business plan with a lower
Costing.
output. And what do we do with the manpower? The only way we could do is immediately reorganize ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Look at, in our industry, we were catering to A class cities, A class customers, giving us revenue because the margins were high.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately go to B and C class cities, expand our portfolio to B and C cities, which were completely not catered.
Mm-hmm.
Large customers could be catered by relationship managers who were huge.
Mm-hmm.
Accordingly, increase the span.
Mm-hmm.
While increase the span, you look at 3 supervisory layers,
Mhm.
reduce 3 to 2,
Okay.
and 1 supervisory layer completely removed. And people who are very high cost but good with relationship would be handling those specific customers completely.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people, because of the performance, could be uh, could find alternate paths. And the whole game was changed by the structuring,
So those
restructuring, and
cities who were never
reorganizing.
catered earlier because of your this thing,
When the situation is like that, when you get higher margins from one side of product, you don't consciously put an
Correct.
effort into the other
Correct.
side. This happened in so many examples in Airtel, where and it happened in Zimmer Biomed, it happened in Dhanuka. So the moment you mitigate that, your product starts giving revenue.
Very nice.
And likewise, we looked at one of the product lines which was completely not, it was negligible in revenue.
Okay.
And imagine, we started with 100 crore to 500 crore plan for that product line, just by making one leader focus on that.
Very nice.
Right? When scenarios like this come in, there are opportunities like this who draw. So
Very nice.
I think creating those leaders to be able to do the success is a very important job which HR leader performs.
So I'm sure every business head would love to have HR professionals like you who can help them improve their top line and bottom line.
I think you earlier pointed out the reason for me not having a traditional HR background and migrated and then reach this level is primarily that. If you look at my organizations, are very high business driven organizations. all are public limited companies, all are listed companies, all are companies which are very aggressive in the market. They're financially doing very well. That's my track record with 5 different companies with 5 different industries. So I think I've broken 2 misnomers. One is that you need to be a traditional HR person to become a CHRO. Second is a lot of people said you cannot move industries. You have to be industry expert.
Correct.
And you work in that industry.
Correct.
I have at all my stages moved industries. I think that business intelligence and business insight into the leaders only has helped me.
Correct.
People did take that risk, right, by hiring me at a senior level when I was not having that industry exposure. And
Correct.
I moved 5 different industries which are very diverse.
Very nice.
From
Very nice.
telecommunications, earlier office automation, telecommunications, healthcare, agrochemicals and fertilizers, and now auto.
Only because you are business oriented. So
Yeah, so that thread is common.
So for
that
a
thread is common.
traditional HR person, what do they need to do to get more business oriented, to be more business oriented?
Spend more time with your business leaders, sit through their reviews. I always make sure
Very powerful.
I sit through their reviews. A
Very,
monthly
very
review
powerful.
अगर 7 घंटे का भी है, 5 घंटे का भी है, I sit through that, understand their point of view, move yourself little outside your HR hat and look at things from a business perspective, understand that consumer well is
Very
what I
nice.
do.
Very nice.
I may not understand everything in auto or everything in chemicals. I was not a chemistry student either, but I could understand the consumer who's farmer. I could
Very
understand
nice.
the consumer who's an
So
auto major.
maybe they can plan it, like you said, the monthly planning. So maybe they can plan it that this month, this is the amount or number of hours I'm going to spend with this business leader
Sure.
in understanding their business and understanding their problems. This
And-
is what an HR professional can do, maybe.
And there are competencies which are linked to your building business acumen, uh,
Like?
being more financially uh, aware.
Very nice.
uh,
How to read a
figures
balance sheet.
figures are remembered more than anything, right? Stories.
Correct.
So I think that helped. And I think the success comes from understand what are the success factors which have led to high growth in the past.
Okay.
Past stories
Okay.
of success and failure
From the business side.
from the business side.
Very nice.
And this can't be done in the classroom. This can be done with a dossier of questions you
Right.
should prepare when you meet your business leader. So what preparation you can do is, what I'm saying is, competency you can learn is those probing skills and the questions that you could ask your business leader in terms of how to get this information. Those questions can be prepared by you when you go. Preparation for the meeting is important.
How to have these, what courses can be done to improve the probing skills?
Strategic HRM I did from XLRI, which really helped me to bring this out. And I would say that every competency has knowledge, skill, and ability. Knowledge has to be there. You can't just consume knowledge. So I think it's good to have a strategic HRM course, or do a course on understanding talent, understanding markets. So I think there could be a number of workshops or course you can do. Anything that you do has to apply somewhere. So knowledge, skill, and ability, it has to apply into work. So whatever you learn, you just apply into your work. Application ke bina, it is just theoretical.
Correct.
And
Correct.
looking at our memory, because we have so much of data every day, it'll move out. So I think what I learn, I imbibe and I do. I remember about 7 years back, one of my VP HRs from some other country coached me on building competencies, and today it stayed with me because I did develop competencies for a supply chain function.
Very
I did
nice.
on the ground. I developed those competencies after doing that, and that has stayed with me. And today that competency model has helped me to develop these learning academies.
Very nice.
And I can do it. I can go and do it with my leaders.
Very
Yes,
nice.
there is a scope of fine tuning. There is a scope of making some mistakes and improvisations, but yes, I can do it.
Very nice. So what have I learned or what have I gathered so far, that you have to be business oriented and you have to plan. You have to plan. You have to be very good in what you do. You have to take your team along with you, and then you have to meet regularly, meet business leaders,
And
and
I think learning from mistakes is important.
okay.
For that, acknowledging mistakes is important. So I proudly say that, look, I made mistakes in my career. Made mistakes, and I learned from them and moved ahead. So I think this the very important component of a learning component is when you acknowledge what you didn't do right. If you know what didn't do right, I think that's knowledge. You
Correct.
know what you didn't do.
Correct. And why you didn't do and how you could have done better.
Yeah. Unlike you don't know what you didn't do right.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So I think that really helped me to take a scale up, and from one leader to the other. And this has been a journey.
So, like you said, that you keep on asking people that what can I do more, you know. So this is how you also realize the mistakes that you might have made, because when once the communication channel is open, then you get all kind of communication.
Today, I have about 20-25 senior stakeholders who
Hmm.
I deal with, and I'm proudly saying about 80-90% people are aligned
Very
with
nice.
whatever I do. In my last assignment, it was just 60%. Last to last assignment, it was just 50%. Usse pehle, it was just 40%. It's been also growing
Correct.
that way.
Correct. Correct.
I'm also developing and growing.
Correct.
So what I want to make it very clear that I'm not talking like, oh, I was there right on the day one. No.
So I love this fact that you keep on investing in yourself, and learning from wherever you can, not only from the courses like you did, but also from leaders, and asking them to coach you on various skill sets and competencies. Amazing. Lovely.
So, and I also, I think one thing I have known that there is always a pushback for
Okay.
people who are not like you or who
Hmm.
don't have thoughts
Obviously.
like you.
Correct.
That's where my diversity and inclusion bit comes in.
Hmm.
I remember hiring people in different industries. When I went to healthcare, I had people from telecom, FMCG. Went to chemical fertilizers, hired people from FMCG,
Okay.
banking,
Okay.
and helped them to scale up and
Hmm.
bring out of the box thinking. And these are all niche industries which have very, very scarce level of talent already present. So either you
Hmm.
could hire from competition.
Correct.
For regular operational jobs, you can do that. For some critical roles, hiring people from other industries
Very
was a
nice. This is
very
also
big
a very
move,
strong point.
and convincing leaders to be able to execute that.
And
Uh,
that convincing can only be done once you have created that trust in them with the open communication and trying to empathetically solve their problems.
and I'm proudly saying that I had three people who have become top performers, moving from completely diverse industries, and today they are in different industries because I could move them, and they could also impact very positively in
Very
the
nice.
new industry.
Very nice.
Second, I think big achievement is that I have been able to manage, coach, mentor people, and
Hmm.
a lot of people who reported to me
Hmm.
now are HR leaders
Amazing.
themselves. That is
Amazing.
something which is I can proudly say.
Very nice.
Sometimes I'm also surprised.
So at the end of the day, this is one satisfaction that you have when you make people grow and you make more leaders.
Yeah.
So that's very satisfying in itself. Very nice. So, two, three questions coming to my mind, sir, is that um, um, any specific challenge that you remember, which was big challenge, and how did you overcome that, or if you did not overcome the learning that you took, or you know?
So the biggest challenge is when uh, you don't have to give uh, good news is given in a positive way by everybody, right?
Correct.
A good day is a good day for everybody,
Correct.
right? It's important to see how you smile on a bad day.
Okay.
I think is a very big challenge, and you have to be present with your customers
Hmm.
You might be very tied up in the day, and when you in the middle of that you get a call, say from your CFO, who's talking about some data which is required on an urgent basis, and you say, no, I'm already busy. I think empathetically taking that particular call and addressing that, that particular conversation very effectively is something which is very, very, it takes a lot of time, patience, energy, but it pays a lot. That is
How do
one
you, so
thing.
if that's again, see, how do you do that? So do you meditate? What do you do to be able to keep calm and
Uh, I think that also is from year to year, it's moving
okay,
as you're growing. I do spend time with myself, whether I do walk
okay,
or I do. I think when you spend time with yourself, it is very, very holistic experience for you.
okay,
Whether you spend a time in a holiday,
okay,
or whether you spend a time over a meal, or whether you spend a time over the walk, or whether you spend, when you introspect that, that makes a lot of difference to me. And then I know what are the things I need to change, and consciously make those change the next day. I think what has worked for me is, sometimes you think, I think I use that word, too much of analysis leads to paralysis. I think uh, rather than analyzing, just take an action.
okay.
Just take an action. If you really feel you want to say some sorry to somebody, just pick the phone and say that. I think that works for me. And analyzing, when I'm, let me tell you, my own guru is me. So I spend time with myself to be able to take that, uh, guidance and learning from myself.
Very nice.
It helps.
Very nice. So how much time do you spend on social media?
आजकल कोई चॉइस तो रह नहीं गई है कि यू कैन नॉट बी देयर, बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर हायरिंग जेन जीज ऑफ वर्ल्ड, they don't like talking. I like conversations, they don't like talking. So I think I don't have any choice of not spending it. It's just that choice and discretion of where you want to spend your energies.
Okay.
So a social media can give you a little bit of ease out of your hectic schedule when you go and browse about various. I love going to places, so I browse about various places
Okay.
on social media. So I think that is something which I spend time when I'm little free.
Okay.
And spending time on LinkedIn to be able to get people, to be able to do my own job, building my organization's brand, then looking at what is happening around in terms of talent pool sizes, because we may not get time to go out so
Correct.
often and
Correct.
meet people.
Correct.
So I think social media becomes a handle for me to get more information.
So it's more
Similarly,
education,
Twitter,
education
education.
related.
I think
How
education is
else
one.
do you spend time with yourself? Walk, you said.
Walking is one which is very regular. I just, and walking is not only about health or physical health, it's a mental health. So walking also helps you then when I'm walking, I'm not walking with anybody, I'm walking just solo. Solo trips are important. They really help you to just get out and unwind completely. And unwinding means that you go back and reflect upon things, and present things that you'll do, and then take action and do them. uh, some kind of chanting, anything could
Very
be a
nice.
good way to just let
So
go.
do you do it while walking or
No, I normally do it when I'm sitting, and there's a
in the
certain
morning?
couch in my house which I use whether it is morning or evening.
Okay.
But it really helps you
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
unwind
Yeah, yeah.
and get over the baggages and things around you.
And how long is the duration? Chanting?
uh, Last from a, sometimes it's if I get time, I'm able to do it for 30-45 minutes. Otherwise, maybe even a 10-minute chanting could be making so much of a difference.
So again, this is so powerful. See, all the top achievers, all the CXO level people, all the billionaires, most of them they either meditate or they chant when they meditate. So chanting is also meditation. I cannot extol the virtues of this. This is so very powerful. See, I help people use mind programming techniques to rewire their brain to start doing things that they don't do, these success mantras. But I always tell them that chanting or meditation is the most powerful mind programming tool which can be there. So I again through I mean and surprisingly all the CHROs I'm talking to, most of them they either meditate or they spend some time in chanting. You know,
And it's important that people say that we spend time with family. I think I am firm believer that you should have some time for yourself,
correct,
in terms of you yourself.
correct,
If you don't fuel this engine,
correct,
eventually, whether it is physical side or its mental side, it will have its own baggages. So I
correct.
think it's important to fuel this engine consistently.
So
Not that we are doing every day, but I think there's a conscious attempt to do it. Even some kind of physical stretches
mhm,
help you. And when you do it, you don't need to go to a gym to stretch.
correct,
You can take
correct.
out 5 minutes time in the morning and do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
you
Very
know and
powerful.
जरूरी नहीं कि आप जिम जाएं, because उसके लिए पूरा प्लान बनेगा.
Correct.
Your time raise it.
Given the traffic situation in the country
Whatever,
now,
you
and
need to have a time.
correct.
Now, morning, if you say 15 minutes I'm going to give to this,
Mhm.
and consciously do that, works for me. So I build habits. So uh, if I am habituated,
Mhm.
then that is in. I don't take efforts to do it. So I
Correct.
think I build a habit.
Very nice. And it's
Building a
not
habit is a good habit.
and it's not easy. I mean, it's not as easy. It's
It
very
may not
difficult.
be very easy, but when you build a habit, it becomes a habit.
Correct. All right. So one last question.
Yeah.
People say that to grow, or like when I talk to people, it is accepted generally that you should take up challenging tasks. You should seek challenges to be problems to be solved. How can one do that? So should one ask one supervisor that give me additional responsibility, or how does one go about it?
I think it's very interesting because I think in my stint 13 years with Airtel, I took 6 different roles. Every role I tried taking, even after that, I've tried taking an extra bit of burden of task on me. Uh, Whether I ask my supervisor is the best way to ask, because he can actually channelize to you. Otherwise, taking up assignments in collaboration with other cross-functional teams and team members. Also, moving little outside your workplace, and I sometimes guide people that don't look at 360-degree evolution of your workplace for everything. I
Mhm.
think I take an extra task. I mentor young people
Mhm.
who are from different communities, who are not accepted so well, and I tried to mentor and guide them. So I do a lot of work outside also the organization, uh, in terms of these assignments. So I'm connected with some organizations who help me, to find time on the weekends, and I can do that, like I'm spending time with you right now. So I think in my own way, I create these stretch assignments, whether they are organization driven or otherwise, but which keep stretching me.
Very nice.
And
Very
I
nice.
always tell people that always take assignments to learn. Don't depend on training programs. They come and they go. Training program followed by an assignment, or learning through exposure and experience, is the best way to learn.
This is so powerful because so taking stretch assignments is one of the fastest ways to improve. So okay, so we'll
And learn to fail. I think failure is the reason for, at least I can call, my success. Learn to fail. If you learn to fail, you tend to move up.
can you give an example on this?
Like, if you're not performing,
Mhm.
right, for some reason, and you have to take a turn,
Mhm.
right, in your life, you need to have an introspection in terms of what are certain things that you could do better, right?
Okay.
Who are those things you could have done better with?
Okay.
And that introspection uh, really helps you to take your next leap into
Mm-hmm.
top three actions that you take in order to maintain that pace which you did not. Accepting your failure,
Mm-hmm.
learning from it, and creating a new action
Mm-hmm.
is a very important tool for your success.
Very
Very,
nice.
very
Very
important tool.
nice. I'm sure this will make a change in people's life. This is very powerful learning,
And
because,
it's not easy
and it's not easy. Obviously, it's
because
not easy.
when you accept that I was not
And
that
again, the
great,
ego thing comes into the place.
exactly, and how can I be wrong?
How can I be
So
wrong?
I think that has certainly helped me to introspect at all stages
Very nice.
and move ahead in life.
So we have almost come to the end. So any specific suggestion, guidance for people at the junior HR management level? What should they be doing to grow up fast?
I think you should be very people savvy and as well as strong in your processes.
Okay.
So one is your process side,
Mm-hmm.
other is your people facing side.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to see is generally people send templates to people to fill and
Mm-hmm.
avoid conversations.
Okay.
So I think get into more conversations with people. Conversations can create
Mm-hmm.
a change and a breakthrough.
Very nice.
That conversation, to carry on a conversation is important, and for that conversation either you need your process to be strong or you
Mm-hmm.
need your homework to be done,
Mm-hmm.
your data to be accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is important, every stage is important for that conversation to happen.
Which is again planning will come into the picture, because unless you are planned, you won't be good in your processes, and as a
Sure.
result, you won't have time to have the conversations.
Right.
Very right.
So having conversation is one part. Second is again building more empathetic
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think helps, and empathy can be brought in by asking somebody what one likes and how one is feeling. It makes a lot of difference. I see people just jumping on the conversation, but not. I think this has helped me in my life and with my clients also, that I could.
And everybody is facing those same 5 or 6 challenges: health issues, money issues, spouse issues, relationship issues, financial, whatever. So,
So
so
it's very important to be there for people,
correct.
uh, and that's the softer part which one needs to adopt.
And for the, as we move on to the mid level, do they need to do something different from these things?
I always feel, I think in my career life, every 3 years or 2 years, 3 years approximately, I've taken uh, an edge. I've upgraded myself. We feel that we had learned certain things 20 years back, and now we are geared to take the life on forever. It doesn't happen. World
Correct.
is changing very
Correct.
fast. Uh, how do we learn? We learn by actually upgrading ourselves.
Correct.
So identify opportunities, and every 2 to 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
one needs to look at how do we change the gear. It's like those manual car. You need to keep changing the gears to accelerate fast. It
Very
is
nicely
very
put.
important that to reach that fifth gear, you need to have four, two, three, four also covered,
Correct.
and you need to constantly upgrade yourself in today's world.
Correct.
But
Very,
I've been doing that in my
very apt.
career every now and then,
Very apt.
and that could be done with the help of your own supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
any mentor, or any professional in life that you are in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
But consciously try and do it and keep upgrading yourself.
And at the senior level.
uh, Senior level, lot of networking helps.
Mm-hmm.
Network is about people. Like I said, all my past almost all my past business leaders have a fair memory of myself, and I'm not saying that you
And you are still
ask.
in touch with them.
Yeah, I'm in touch with them. Uh, Without their permission, I'll not take their names here, but yes, I'm in touch with
Very
most of them.
nice. So that
Most
is
of them.
again going out of your doing something extra. So
Yeah,
spending, taking out time to be in touch with people, to network again.
yeah.
It's just stretching yourself. It's a
and
stretch
to an
assignment.
extent that they remember my birthdays and
Very nice.
important days, and they wish me.
Very nice.
And and they have a good memory of mine. I have good memory of them. So I think that networking at senior level is important. Second, I think uh, at senior level, it's very important to lead by example in terms of what you say to others.
Correct.
You are doing yourself.
Correct.
बहुत important है.
Correct.
And if you're not doing that,
less of gyan, more of action.
yeah, and action in true sense. That
Action
means
in true
if I'm
sense.
asking others to complete the assessment first, I've done.
Yeah, correct.
Right? It's that simple.
All right. So,
and the third thing which is important in a senior level responsibility is that you bring in your true self in. That means deal with a thing, don't get scared by that. Deal with the situation, don't get scared by that. I think a lot of organizations today are looking at people who are resilient. You're using the word resilience not only on the physical side but emotionally, mentally. If you're emotionally, mentally resilient, you are able to build yourself for future. And you have to also contribute to organizations, because there are ups and downs in life.
correct.
In professional life, that is a very important component which a leader brings in.
And those disruptions are only increasing. Ups and downs
They
are
can
only.
be of any ordinate.
Correct.
Right? So I think this is a very important component, that
So
you are resilient.
we come towards the end almost, Vikas. So 2 or 3 quick questions, for general, not only for people in HR, but general working professionals. So question: I'm stagnating in my career. What do I need to do?
Stagnation is a virtue of your own thinking. Please look at the areas you can expand and grow, and take an action and do it.
And also maybe stagnation is because of a certain monetary value that I'm not earning much, or
See, it's very
resignation.
situational. That's what I'm
Very
saying.
situational.
It's very situational. It's very driven by you. There's no definition to stagnation, and there's no definition to perfection. As in, I have a perfect job.
Yeah, correct.
I don't think anybody
can say that. Correct.
There's no definition to stagnation.
Correct. Very nice.
मैं सिर्फ एक ही चीज कहता हूँ सबको कि कुछ चीजें बाहर के लिए छोड़ दो. Don't expect everything out of your job.
Correct.
I should have a good manager. I should have work-life balance. I should have a good workplace to sit. Preferably, the workplace should be near to my house, and I need everything out of my poor work.
In fact, I was coming to that. So, next question: I don't have a good boss.
Nobody asks you to marry your boss. So I think the definition of good boss is also very different. It's all about energies, because sometimes energies don't match, right? I think I always reflect back. जिनसे energies मेरी match नहीं करी, I think I could have done things little better to be able to match those, and that's a learning I carry for future. So there's no correct definition of good or bad. It's all about the objective, right? अब वो objective achieve हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, and nobody's asked you to stay with that person forever. It's about that work objective, and then one can always take a decision. Is my take on this.
How do I got a negative feedback, and this is a big problem nowadays, people, during my workshop. So I get a negative feedback, and I've got into a negative cycle of demotivation. How do I get out of it?
I take it as an opportunity to take an action. So I convert a negative feedback to an action plan. It could be a micro action plan, it could be a macro action plan. I just list it as an action plan, and then I don't think about the negative feedback. It's about the action I take. If I cannot take an action against, if somebody says, okay, if somebody gave a feedback that you should be an electronic engineer but you are mechanical engineer, I don't take an action.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And there's no negative about it. You are a soft person. It's okay. My soft side has helped me to build relationships. So again, a feedback which is negative can be converted into an action. always there's a garbage bin to put remaining.
Correct. So find out the important stuff and let go of the other.
Which is important stuff, which is can be converted into an action.
Correct. Right.
Action oriented.
Thank you. So we come almost to the end of this.
एक छोटा सा
Yeah.
एग्जांपल है मैं देना चाहूँगा. This is a coaster. If I have to move this to this, this effort had to be taken.
Correct.
Now it's moved. Suppose मैं इसको यहाँ रख के सोचता रहूँ कि this has to be moved here. This has to be moved here. Till I do this. And when I see now, it has moved. That is an action.
I understand.
I
understand. Very nicely put, Vikas. So it has been lovely talking to you. So the biggest, and which generally is my learning also when I talk to CHROs, is that you have to be business oriented. And
and it's not a rocket science. I always keep saying it's not a rocket science. Sometimes I also feel I talk to my leaders and ask them, why do you say that? Because your connect with business is strong. मैंने तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया. So certainly it's not a rocket science. It's very easy. एक simple way बता दूंगा. Understand your customer, understand your supplier. Supplier, customer. You'll be able to understand the process well.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikas. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for calling me here.